There's no composer more highly respected by jazz musicians than Hoagy Carmichael. That's true today and it will be true for a long time to come.
I always wanted to have a big celebration for Hoagy Carmichael, and it never seemed to get going. I'm so happy to see it functioning and getting bigger each year. He's, I think, our best known alumni.
He's the biggest thing that ever happened to Bloomington.
He's the biggest thing that
Carmichael himself, as you may know, played at this theater in the 1920s with his own small group, Carmichael's Cobine. He was enjoying his first wave of success, albeit a regional one at that time, and the Indiana Daily Student had an ad that proclaimed, "No need to tell you about these boys, they are known all over the state." Hoagy Carmichael, of course, went on to become known all over the world, but he never forgot the place from which he came, which was the Bloomington hot jazz scene of the 1920s.
Can't get Indiana off my mind, that's the place I long to see. Back in Indiana I will find all the folks so dear to me.
I'm very happy to be here in the Hoagy Carmichael Festival, and what it means to me and what Hoagy Carmichael means to me is a tremendous local heritage, and it's something that brings everybody together, as you can hear in the background here. And it's just a lot of fun. It's great music, it's Americana, it's standards, and it's all from Bloomington. So it's a great reason for people to come together and share their musical experiences and play something new over what was done a long time ago here in this same town on this same stage. So it's very cool.
Having the Hoagy Carmichael Festival is a perfect idea. I mean, he spent much of his time here and in the state of Indiana, and to have a festival here that honors him and pays tribute to his work and his life it's perfect. Being able to play in this theater where so much of Hoagy's music was performed when he was here is wonderful. Bloomington is it's an amazing community, and there's so many wonderful musicians who come up through here, and you know, it's great that we can all kind of carry on the tradition what Hoagy did when he was here back in the day, and to be in this wonderful community with all these great musicians, it's a privilege.
You know, Hoagy Carmichael is one of those things about Bloomington that we like to brag about, so people who aren't from Bloomington, you know, come here and say this is the home of Hoagy Carmichael. And certainly his music is kind of in the household consciousness of people all over the country and beyond. I think a lot of people here don't actually know all that much about the man himself, so including me. I know some things, but a lot more to learn. So.
Every sound check I do, I make sure I do one Hoagy song. I'll do Up a Lazy River. Sometimes if I'm feeling particularly good, I'll do Stardust. There's so many. The Nearness of You, Baltimore Oriole. He wrote so many great songs, and he's been very instructive to me in terms of songwriting. Everything you need to know about songwriting you can find in Hoagy Carmichael's work. I think I know a lot about Hoagy, but the fact is events like this tell me that I really don't know much at all. I'm always learning something new, and it's a great honor for a man who certainly deserves it. He was one of the greatest American songwriters, great singer-songwriters, probably the prototype for that, and really just a consummate Hoosier.
He was a good friend of my mother. They all ran around together, and that was in the days when they didn't all have cars. The kids didn't all have cars. They used to park their cars in a downtown garage, and then if they were going to go somewhere or go for a ride, or they might even go to Ellisville, and if they did, they came down and got their car out and went, and then they put their car back. I have with me tonight a dance program that Hoagy signed it for my mother to dance with him in it. This is a 1912 dance program. One summer they were working on the book nook and they didn't know where to go with their piano, so they asked Mother if her family would be willing to keep the piano for them. And Mother said sure she would. So Hoagy would come over and they'd play the piano, and the kids they'd sit around the piano and sing. And I don't know what songs he might have written at the time that he came over there to practice on the piano, but I do have in one of my mother's diaries an entry that says he's writing a new song called Stardust, wonder if it'll be a hit.
Memphis in June, the sweet oleanders.
I've been singing Hoagy Carmichael songs since I was about 15 years old, and I'll never stop singing them.
Up jumped the moon and made that much grander. It's paradise, better take my advice. Nothing's half as nice as Memphis in June.
I'd like to see a national artist or two come in and to headline, bring more people in from out of town. But I like the notion of the film festival a lot. I think the film festival is very cool, and I'm looking forward to the big bands the next couple of nights too.
Hoagy's from Indianapolis and Bloomington, and his tunes relate to the Hoosier mentality, I think, in many ways. But even more special is the fact that this band, Cobine's band, got to play with Hoagy Carmichael on at least 2 occasions, maybe 3 occasions, back at the Little 500. So there's a direct connection with Hoagy Carmichael and what we're doing here tonight. Happy to be here.
It was sure fun to see him. I don't remember the year, but it was at a Little 500 show, and he came back. We played something, and he surprised me because he came up from behind, tapped me on the shoulder, and he says, "Hey, kid, that was pretty damn good." And I was shocked when I found out or saw who it was. And I think that was the instant where I arranged some of his things late into the night. And I started one song, and by the end I had changed tunes to another song so that I'd put the two together and I didn't even know it. And when we played it, from behind, he came up to me and slapped me on the back and said, "Hey, that's pretty damn good, kid." And I tried to wonder what it was, and he said, "Putting those 2 tunes together like that was really clever." Well, I didn't even know I had done it.
I love it that this was one of his venues, and I really feel a sense of that sometimes. I really do feel a sense that he's around here. It's been a real labor of love putting this together, mostly because of these wonderful arrangements of Al Cobine.
I'm glad it's happening now, and I think looks like it's going to be a roaring success. It's history, it's tradition. You can't beat that. That's what builds a community. That's what builds character in a community, is to have history and tradition. So it's good for Bloomington.
It's the only place to have a Hoagy Carmichael Festival. Bloomington's it. I mean, where else would you? Can't have it in LA. Got to have it here. It's where it belongs. It's Hoagy's home. Growing up, my parents always had good music in the home, and started out, I think, with The Nearness of You was one of my favorites, and luckily I get to sing that tonight with the best big band in the country.
Well, I think the festival is fantastic, and you might ask the question, why didn't it happen sooner? Because it's really something that Bloomington should be doing to honor one of its native sons. I had an extraordinary experience about 2.5 years ago that shows how powerful Hoagy Carmichael's music is. I traveled to Baku, Azerbaijan, as part of an exchange project with Baku State University and Indiana University. And on the last day that I was in Baku, the people who were hosting me took me to hear a student vocal ensemble, which is a group that sings vocalese jazz. And this is led by a man who had led a group called Gaia during Soviet times, a quartet that did vocalese. And he has these kids who range in age from 10 to 17 singing all these fantastic arrangements that he wrote. And the very first song that they sang for me was Stardust. And I was just stunned. And when they were finished singing, I had to tell them, do you know that this man who wrote this tune was born in the town where I live in Bloomington, Indiana? And they were quite surprised to hear that. It was really remarkable. And it shows the power of his music to transcend culture and time and place, and how it lives on today.
Well, Hoagy was always great because he showed up in those Bogart films, To Have and Have Not. He's so funny in that one, singing along with Lauren Bacall, and he's, as a native son of Bloomington, he's the kind of guy that we could all look up to as a role model, I always thought. There's no reason why Hoagy's work shouldn't be sung to the highest rafters of any music hall in Indiana or around the world, and have the films and the music of his work done every year here. That could grow and grow to bring in contemporary jazz musicians, traditional jazz musicians, the great stuff from the 30s and 40s, the big bands. This could be a great hub for that type of musicianship.